Well, hello, hello, hello. You probably thought I forgot about you, but I didn't. I'm here. How are you doing on this fine day? Grab your beverage. I drank my coffee already and my water, and I've gone to the bathroom multiple times as a result of it. And I am now, let me see if I can turn this around. I am now visiting my brother. Although it is overcast and a little bit chilly, it's just absolutely beautiful here. And this is what I get to wake up to. So super glad that I have made the time and been able to visit my brother and his family. So very important, not just in this day and age, but in general, to spend time with the people that we care about. And do so not just on special occasions. You know, I used to hear all the time about people who, they only saw family members at weddings and funerals. How sad is that? Super duper sad. Super duper sad. And I have a cousin. Who is the same age. We're 3 months apart. And when we turned 50, we took a cruise together to celebrate. When we turned 60, we haven't done anything. So we need to do something. We attempted to do it, but other family issues took precedence, and I totally get it. She became a grandma and wanted to make sure that she was around for the birth and for the first couple of months, and I totally and completely understand that. So this year we will plan something. Right, Al? This year we will plan something. She does an amazing job. She is the best at keeping in touch. She just randomly calls, we catch up, and grateful for her. And it's wonderful, even though I don't see her as often as I would like. The calls are frequent that we can stay in touch and know what's going on in each other's lives. And, the thing is, getting to the end of life with no regrets, right? I hear, you hear all the stories of people who are on their deathbed and we're like, man, I wish I would have. I wish I meant to. I wish I made time for. And I don't want to be that person. I don't want to say, man, I spent a lot of time working, or I fretted. My mom shared with me years and years ago that she used to really basically get all worked up because her house wasn't clean. And, she had 4 kids, all within 5 years. And to think that her house was going to be clean, that's a huge undertaking unless you're constantly cleaning it with that many people. And so letting some of the things go. One thing she imparted to me was the house is going to be standing long after you're gone. Don't get so worried about the small stuff. And at the end of life, I work towards not sweating the small stuff and making sure that I make time for the stuff that is truly important, that is going to be important in 5 years, not just in 5 minutes. Yeah, if it's not going to be important in 5 years, it shouldn't be important in 5 minutes, right? And I get, spun up in all of that. Oh my gosh, it's super important that I have this call, that I make this meeting, that I plan this thing. And at the end of the day, does it really matter that much? We make it matter. I'm the one who puts the importance on it, no one else. And so, yeah, this one's going to be short and sweet because it's a very small window of opportunity that I had to connect today. And I just wanted to remind you that the people in our lives are the most important aspect. Not the things, not the accomplishments. Getting to the end of my life and being, wow, I wrote a book. Yeah, that's a pretty big accomplishment. Yeah, I'm so proud of myself. I created a product for the women's restrooms that made it more cleanly, more hygienic. Super proud of myself. But if I do that at the expense of my relationships, it's not a price that I'm willing to pay. I want both. And if I can't have both and I have to make a choice, my choice is always the relationship over the thing. Just something that I've chosen over the years. Luckily, I've been able to do a lot of things. You know, I wrote my own patent. I wrote, produced, hosted, and directed a TV special. I've done a lot of things, but never to the expense of my relationships that I hold near and dear. As you may or may not know, my love language is time, and time spent with those that I care about so deeply, and I make that my priority. What's your priority? What is your priority? If it's impact, I encourage you to consider that just by existing, you make an impact. You make a difference. This is something that was really hard for me. And in therapy, I was asked the question when I was like, I really want to make an impact. I want to leave a legacy. And when the person that I was seeing said, well, what are your children? I'm like, they're my kids, but that's not my impact or my legacy. They're like, really? Really? Do you know that every time you pick up the phone, you send a text, you send a voice memo, you're kind to the person in line behind you or in front of you or the person checking you out, that you, in effect, are creating an impact? Just by existing, we can't help but create an impact, a ripple effect in time, space. And when I realized that, you know, years ago, I had a neighbor. I don't know if I told you this story. Years ago, I had a neighbor who was pregnant with her first baby. And when she started to go into labor, her husband was over an hour away in DC. Her parents were like 2 hours away in Maryland. And she asked me to drive her to the hospital. And I did. And there was a train, and she said that I knocked on windows. She goes, do you remember this? I do not. I do not remember this. Not until she shared in detail how I got out of the car and knocked on the people's car door windows in front of me, asking them if they would pull over so I could get by the minute the train passed, because I had somebody that was in labor behind them, that I slightly remember, but I really didn't. You know, 25 years later, I truly did not remember that. And yet it had such a huge impact on her that she tells everybody that she meets the story about how her neighbor took her to the hospital and knocked on windows and how we were stopped by the train. You, me, we cannot help but make an impact just by existing. So take that in a minute and maybe consider not putting so much pressure on yourself. I have had to stop putting so much pressure on myself to what's my legacy? What impact am I making? How can I go through my day, my week, my month, my year with no impact being made? And yet I make an impact every single moment of every day that I interact with others. So if you're sitting there beating yourself up, thinking, man, I just wanted to leave a legacy and make an impact in a positive way, I'm here to tell you, my friend, that you are. You can't help it. It's just the way it is. Law of the universe, call it. And so, in the end, when we get to the end of our lifetime, are you going to think, I've given it my all? Or are you going to still left with a song left to sing? Are you going to go with regrets? Like, oh, I wish I did, I tried, I made. Or are you going to say, I did all that I ever dreamed of and more? I hope that whenever your maker comes to call, that you can go with the assurance that you really did live life to its fullest. And if you haven't up until now, here's the good news. You can do it moving forward. You know that song, I wish to live as if you were dying? Is that gosh, it's a country western song. I think it's a John Michael Montgomery Clint. I don't know. I wish you had the chance to live life like you were dying. Each and every day, each of us is dying, a little bit. We're getting closer to that end day. And so live each day to its fullest. That's my invitation. And know that you don't need to be big. You don't need to be bold to live it to its fullest. You don't need to be a Tony Robbins and impact tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands. You just need to do your part, one person at a time. Help that one person. Be that ear for one person, that shoulder for someone to cry on. Be that beacon of light for somebody. And that's it. Just be you. That's all you need to do. It's something that really took me a long time to embrace and adjust and accept. And so if you're going through a struggle moment, I invite you to realize that you are and will always be enough. And you always do enough. And you make an impact. You can't help it. There's a wake behind you. You just get to determine what it is as you move throughout each and every day. And with that, I wish you the most wickedly wonderful wisdom, wellness, wealthy Wednesday. And I'll catch you tomorrow. Make it a great one. See ya.